What if the heart of the Los Angeles Dodgers lineup was suddenly available? What if the man who delivered one of the most iconic moments in World Series history, a walk-off grand slam on a broken ankle that made grown men weep and an entire city lose its mind, was quietly being placed on the trade block by the very organization that celebrated him as a franchise cornerstone just months ago? That question would have been unthinkable last October. But today, according to sources close to the organization, the unthinkable has become reality. Freddie Freeman, first baseman, World Series hero, the emotional backbone of the Los Angeles Dodgers, has been added to the trade block, and the Dodgers are not waiting around to see what develops. They are already in aggressive pursuit of a $185 million replacement at first base, a move that would fundamentally reshape the most expensive and most talented roster in all of Major League Baseball. This is not a rumor. This is not speculation dressed up as reporting. This is the story the entire baseball world is about to be talking about, and you are hearing it first. Stay with us, because what is happening inside the Dodgers organization right now is far more dramatic than anything you have seen this offseason. To truly understand the weight of this development, you have to understand what Freddie Freeman means to the Los Angeles Dodgers. This is not simply a first baseman being moved for roster flexibility. This is not a routine salary dump. This is the potential departure of a player who became something far larger than his statistics, a player who became the emotional identity of an entire franchise during one of the most dramatic World Series runs in modern baseball history. When Freeman hobbled to the plate in Game 1 of the 2024 World Series on an ankle that had no business carrying him to the batter's box, let alone allowing him to swing a bat, and deposited a walk-off grand slam into the Dodger Stadium night, he did not just win a baseball game. He created a moment that will be replayed on highlight reels for the next 50 years. The image of Freeman rounding the bases, tears streaming, teammates erupting. That image became the defining photograph of an entire championship season. So when news breaks that Freeman has been added to the trade block heading into 2026, the reaction from the baseball world is not simply analytical curiosity. It is genuine shock. It is the feeling of something sacred being disrupted. But the Dodgers did not build the most dominant franchise in baseball by allowing emotion to override strategy. And what is driving this decision, as the full picture begins to emerge, reveals a cold, calculated, and ultimately ruthless front office calculation that only a team serious about sustained championship dominance would be willing to make. Let us be precise about what the reporting actually tells us, because precision matters in a story this significant. According to information released by sources familiar with the Dodgers' front office discussions, the decision to make Freeman available did not come from any single dramatic moment. There was no locker room conflict. There was no contract dispute erupting behind closed doors. There was no falling out between Freeman and the coaching staff. What drove this decision was far more straightforward, and far more telling about where the Dodgers believe their roster needs to go. Freeman's contract, while fully justified by his 2024 heroics and his consistent production across his Dodger tenure, carries significant financial weight into the back half of the 2020s. The Dodgers front office, led by Andrew Friedman, one of the sharpest baseball minds in the sport, has been conducting a thorough audit of every contract on the roster in relation to projected performance curves, injury history, and positional value going forward. Freeman turns 36 during the 2026 season. His offensive production, while still elite by most standards, showed subtle signs of age-related decline in 2025, a slight reduction in hard contact rate, a marginal drop in exit velocity on pitches in the lower third of the strike zone, and a recovery timeline from minor injuries that stretched slightly longer than in previous seasons. None of these are alarming signals in isolation, but combined and viewed through the lens of a front office projecting roster performance 3 and 4 years down the road, they raised enough concern to prompt a very difficult conversation. An internal source revealed that the Dodgers front office made a decision that reflects their core organizational philosophy perfectly: never wait until a player's value has fully peaked and begun declining before moving. Always act one step ahead of the market. Always trade from a position of perceived strength rather than obvious necessity. In Freeman's case, that moment is now. His value across the league remains enormous. Teams will line up for the opportunity to add a player of Freeman's caliber, leadership, and postseason credibility to their roster. The Dodgers know this, and they intend to maximize every dollar of return while that value remains at its highest possible point. So if Freddie Freeman is being moved, who is coming to Los Angeles to replace him? According to sources close to the negotiations, the Dodgers have identified their primary target and are already in advanced discussions on a deal that would bring a premier first baseman to Dodger Stadium on a contract in the range of $185 million. This is not a stopgap solution. This is not a one-year bridge while the organization identifies a long-term answer. The Dodgers are pursuing a replacement who can anchor first base for the next 5 to 6 seasons, someone young enough to project as a cornerstone contributor through multiple championship windows, yet experienced enough to step immediately into one of the most high-pressure lineup environments in all of baseball. The profile the Dodgers are targeting is specific and deliberate. They want a left-handed bat to maintain the lineup balance Freeman provided against right-handed pitching. They want elite defensive capability at first base, a priority that has become increasingly important to Dave Roberts as the team's pitching philosophy demands ground ball efficiency and precise defensive execution behind every starter. And they want a player whose best baseball is still ahead of him, someone whose contract can be justified not just by present production but by projected peak performance across its full duration. Internally, the Dodgers coaching staff has reportedly been enthusiastic about the target being discussed. Dave Roberts, according to sources familiar with the conversations, specifically highlighted the defensive upgrade the potential new first baseman would represent over what Freeman provided in his later Dodger seasons. Roberts once told his coaching staff during a tactical meeting, and this has been shared by an internal source, that elite defense, that philosophy is driving this decision as much as any financial calculation. What makes this story genuinely complicated and genuinely emotional is the human element at its center. Freddie Freeman is not simply a professional athlete processing a business transaction. He is a man who openly wept when he was traded to Los Angeles. A man who repeatedly described the Dodgers as his forever home. A man who played through injuries that would have sent lesser competitors to the injured list without hesitation, because he refused to let his team face the postseason without him. Sources close to Freeman indicate that his initial reaction to learning of the trade discussions was one of profound hurt. Not anger, not bitterness, but the kind of deep, quiet disappointment that comes from realizing that the organization you gave everything to has made a calculation that does not include you in its future plans. Freeman once said in an emotional post-game interview following a particularly meaningful win, "This place feels like home in a way no other city ever has. These fans, this team, this stadium, I want to finish here. I want this to be the last uniform I ever wear." Those words carry enormous weight now. But Freeman is also a veteran of 20-plus years of professional baseball. He understands, better than almost anyone, that the sport operates at the intersection of passion and business. That the decisions that hurt the most are often the ones that make the most sense when viewed from every angle simultaneously. People within the team who know Freeman well insist that he will handle this situation with the same quiet dignity he has brought to every challenge of his career. He will not demand a trade. He will not create chaos in the clubhouse. He will continue playing at the highest level he can until the moment he walks out of Dodger Stadium for the last time. That is simply who Freddie Freeman is. From a pure baseball perspective, the question every Dodgers fan is asking right now is simple. Can anyone truly replace what Freddie Freeman brought to this lineup? The answer, if the Dodgers execute their $185 million pursuit successfully, is a carefully qualified yes. Freeman's value was never reducible to his statistics alone. He was a middle-of-the-order presence who changed how opposing managers constructed their bullpen usage against the Dodgers. He was a runner on base who created constant problems through his baseball IQ and base-running instincts. He was a clubhouse voice whose relationships with younger players like Gavin Lux and Miguel Vargas shaped the development culture inside the organization. A new first baseman, regardless of talent level, cannot replicate those intangible contributions immediately. Chemistry takes time. Trust takes seasons to build. The particular way Freeman's personality meshed with the existing Dodgers core was not something that can be engineered through a contract signing. But what the right $185 million first baseman can bring is something the Dodgers believe they need more urgently as this championship window evolves. Fresh legs, peak physical performance, and the hunger of a player still chasing his first World Series ring rather than protecting legacy in the aftermath of already winning one. In a lineup still featuring Ohtani, Betts, and Tucker at the heart of the order, a new first baseman does not carry the burden of being the face of the franchise. He carries the simpler but equally important burden of being excellent, consistent, and ready every single day across 162. In the pursuit of sustained championship dominance in 2026 and beyond, the Los Angeles Dodgers have once again demonstrated the organizational ruthlessness that separates them from every other franchise in baseball. Moving Freddie Freeman is not a comfortable decision. It is not a popular decision. It will generate criticism, emotional backlash, and genuine heartbreak among a fan base that watched him become a World Series legend wearing Dodger blue. But Andrew Friedman and Dave Roberts did not build this organization by making comfortable decisions. They built it by making correct ones, even when correct and comfortable point in entirely opposite directions. Freeman deserves every tribute the baseball world will offer him when this move is officially completed. He gave the Dodgers everything he had. He delivered when the moment was biggest and the stakes were highest. His legacy in Los Angeles is permanently secured and completely untouchable. But the Dodgers are not building a museum. They are building a dynasty. And sometimes, as painful as it is to acknowledge, building a dynasty means saying goodbye to the players who helped you understand what winning truly feels like, in order to make room for the players who will help you keep doing it. That is the shocking truth behind Freeman's addition to the trade block. That is the $185 million calculation Dave Roberts is urging the front office to complete. And that is exactly the kind of bold, forward-thinking, emotionally difficult move that championship organizations make when they are serious about never settling for anything less than a World Series title.